Mike stared at the door. He didn't know whether to open it or not. It led to Circus Baby Entertainment and Rentals. He hadn't been down there since his sister, Elizabeth, went missing, and their mom had just went up and left. Now it was just him and his dad, William, who hadn't been around a lot of the time. He was always busy doing God knows what. Mike stopped stalling and just opened the door. Though it would reveal to him horrible memories, he wanted to see what he could do about the place. It revealed a little walkway that led to an elevator, but he remembered the place had no electricity. His dad had turned the power off after a gas leakage, and the only way to turn it back on was somewhere in the breaker room. He was going to have to find another way in, and luckily, he knew just another entryway. It was a stairway in another building not far from the house. There, it would lead him downstairs into a long hall. Thankfully, Mike remembered the passcode to get inside. Every employee and technician who worked in this underground facility used one of the other ways to get in. Mike entered and walked past an office in the scooping room, ignoring all the dust that was covering the floors. He thought about cleaning it up, but he didn't bother about it now. He was only in here to look, to see. He continued walking. If he had remembered where the power source was, he would have turned it on. But he didn't. Mike shrugged, then continued walking. He ended up in a room that had a monitor of his younger brother's bedroom, along with two other ones, one of the bed and another one of a hallway with multiple doors. He gasped when he realized what he was looking at. He had forgotten all about these, but apparently his dad had still kept them going, and he had just left them all together. He looked at the clipboard lying next to the camera monitors. It looked like a kid named Rory was one of the last experiments as of about 10 years ago. When Mike looked at the monitors, he saw someone lying on the covers of the filthy bed. When Mike saw this, he frowned. Whatever this guy was about to experience couldn't be good. He decided to stop standing around and try to find a way in. He looked around and started touching everything he could see, then walked through the doorway. In this room, there was an engine running. He looked closely at it. He looked up at where the black suction was going. It was going inside the wall. For whatever reason, Mike did not remember what this was. Was it an oxygen supply to keep Rory alive? He didn't remember his dad using this sort of engine when he was in there being tested, but he knew exactly how to stop it. He simply found the power cord and pulled a plug out of the wall. The engine started slowing down, and whatever was in it had stopped being put out. Mike looked at the wall. There had been a way in, and that's when he realized there was a very obvious one. He would have to crawl in where the gas was being pumped through. He would risk being affected by the gas, but it didn't matter. There was someone in there who needed escaping. Mike pulled the engine as far away from the room as he could, then aimed his flashlight up to where he could see a hole. He jumped up and started feeling a little tight in the space. He closed his eyes and pushed through as hard as he could. He hoped he wasn't doing this all for nothing. He wanted to save Rory. Everything started to feel fuzzy, but he felt something underneath him and banged his elbow hard on it. Mike turned and realized he was looking through a vent down at the floor. He threw his flashlight down so hard, but the vent refused to break. He was going to need a screwdriver. He also heard someone screaming for their mom, but he ignored answering the kid. Mike managed to turn around and stomp his feet on the vent. With all his strength, he managed to break through and heard a scream as he slipped through it and landed onto the floor with a hard thump. "Who are you?" Mike turned to Rory and stood up slowly as to not disturb him. He studied the guy. He was very skinny and malnourished, and his eyes were wide with fear. "Hey, it's okay. Answer my question. Who are you?" Mike couldn't get a sentence out. He just stood there. He wasn't sure where to begin. He was also shocked. "I'm here to get you out of this place. Leave me alone. I don't want to go back." "Rory, how do you know my name?" Are you the guy who put me here?" No, I'm just trying to help you. I want to get you out of here. And the guy who put you here wouldn't help you get out now, would he?" Okay." Mike noticed that Rory was reluctant, but that didn't bother him. He was going to help him either way. He had been in these experiments for about 10 years, it seemed, and it was a horrible thing to go through, if he remembered how they went correctly. He had nightmares just about these experiments his dad conducted. Imagining going through these for 10 years was even more hell. He looked around the fake house and up into the vent. It was a small way out, but it could work. The only problem was that it was too high up for either of them to reach. He looked over at Rory, who wasn't even paying attention to him anymore. He was looking at the cabinet, then over at the fridge. I remember. What? What do you remember? Rory didn't answer and just opened the fridge to reveal wafers. He threw them all out on the floor, and Mike just stood back and watched. Through it revealed another way to get in and out. There was an entrance at the back of the fridge. Mike had somehow passed up. Good job. Rory climbed in first, heading into the darkness. He suddenly came to a stop before turning to look back at Mike. Mike handed him the flashlight, then crawled into the fridge right behind him. Can you go first? I'm scared. Mike nodded, then took the flashlight back from Rory and pointed it down at the floor. He jumped, then pointed it back up at Rory. Come on, don't be scared. I got you. He held his hands out for Rory. Rory sighed, then jumped. He had remembered doing this before for some reason. Or was that just a false memory? He landed into Mike's arms and curled up into a ball. Mike set him down on the floor. He remembered that Rory still had the mind of a child since he had been in that experiment for 10 years. Rory grabbed Mike's hand and he let him, as Mike's other hand pointed the flashlight outwards. It was completely silent between the two, as if they both just wanted to get out of this place. They hurried through the monitor room and through the scooper room into the hallway before Rory pulled Mike backwards. What are you doing? I can't go back out there. Why not? Everyone will hate me, even more than they already did. Mike wasn't sure what to say to comfort him. He clearly didn't have a good life. Why would you think that? Before I turned 7, I only had one friend, Wade. Everyone else treated me like an outcast, and I felt like I didn't belong. So now that I'm 17 and missed out on growing up, I will feel even more left out than I already did. Hey, you don't have to go back out there into the world if you're not ready, but I want you to stay at my house. It's better than being in here having those nightmares every night. Yeah. You still haven't told me who you are. I'm Mike. How did you find me? I hadn't been down here in a long time since my sister died and my mom left. This was located under our house. I'm sorry that happened to you. Don't worry about it. I'm more worried about you now. Can you please just come with me? I know you don't want to be in there for the rest of your life. Might as well be. No. As Rory started to turn back, Mike turned and pulled him up the stairs and out of the door. Mike hurriedly rushed Rory to the house on the back side, then inside so nobody could see them. When they walked in, Mike shut and locked the door behind him. Rory looked around the house in awe. It looks like mine, but the inside is so different. Your house looked like this one. Yeah. Or maybe that was a fake memory. It's okay, you've been trapped in there for 10 years and I don't know what he might have put inside your head. Are you gonna tell me more about why I'm here? Go ahead and sit down. Okay. Rory sat down in the dining room and Mike sat down next to him. I'm not sure why he picked you, but there's one thing you should know before I tell you anything else. He's my dad. What? Rory sat up in his chair. He began breathing quick and hard. He wasn't sure he felt safe being here now. Mike leaned forward and held his hands out to reassure him, though. Hey, I'm not going to hurt you or put you back into those nightmare experiments. No, Calm down, okay? What if he comes back and finds me? I can't stay here. He hasn't come back for 10 years. I've been living here alone since then. Oh, I'm sorry. Rory sighed, then sat back. Mike did so too. Is that it? Is that all you wanted to tell me? There's more, but tell me everything. Okay, those nightmare experiments, do you know how they work? Sort of. My dad, William Afton, told me how they work. It pumps hallucinogenic, a gas, and makes you see those nightmares as real. It changes the looks of the rooms and it makes you believe things that aren't true. Wow, that makes so much sense. How do you know all of this? I was put in it after I accidentally killed my younger brother. Mike looked away to avoid Rory's reaction, which whatever it was would be an appropriate one, probably. Rory only frowned. I'm sorry. You're sorry? I should be the one that's sorry. After I was let out of it, I knew he would kidnap kids and put them in there. I could have done something. I could have stopped him, but I didn't. Rory went silent. He wasn't sure how to respond or react to Mike's outburst. It had been forever since he talked to a real person. The last one had been Wade, and it had been over a walkie-talkie, he remembered. Mike sighed. He must have realized that. I'm sorry for what he put you through. How about we just talk about this later? I'm sure you had a rough time already. What do you want to eat? Well, every morning for breakfast, I eat a bagel and a fruit. I really like having cream cheese on my bagel, but I haven't had it for a while. Mike nodded, then got up and headed over to the fridge. He looked over at Rory, noticing how skinny and malnourished he appeared. He felt really bad for him. We don't have anything but fruits, but I can go and get you that tomorrow. What do you think of spaghetti? That's an easy one to make. Rory thought for a moment. He hadn't eaten spaghetti since he was 6 years old at his mom's house, and she would scold him every time he spilled it on the table. The thought made him shiver in fear. No thanks. I'm gonna make it anyway. Then you can try it. And if you don't like it, I'll make something else. How's that sound? Rory just hesitantly nodded his head, but didn't say anything. He was uncomfortable for some reason. Everything was very unusual and new. Mike disregarded his hesitation as fear of eating something he didn't know about. He made enough spaghetti for the both of them and put Rory's in a bowl with a fork along with his own. He sat down and started eating. Rory stared at it and watched Mike, then looked back down at the bowl of spaghetti. He gripped the fork tightly. Go ahead and eat. The food doesn't bite. It bites? Mike laughed, but he knew Rory still had a mentality of a 7-year-old. No, I'm messing with you. Eat it. Rory mimicked Mike's actions like a robot who was still learning. When he tasted the spaghetti, his mind was blown. He set the fork down and chewed it. He was tasting something he hadn't tasted for years. So, this is amazing. He continued eating it with a huge smile on his face. He figured out now that he liked spaghetti. Mike was happy to find that out. It would make dinners with Rory easier. Tomorrow, we'll go and get you new clothes. We can't have you walking around in that. They're very tight. Yeah, I thought so. If you're uncomfortable in those, I have spare clothes you can change into. That would be nice. Thank you. They continued eating in silence before Rory accidentally dropped his fork and some spaghetti sauce stained the table. Rory froze out of fear. He wasn't sure what to do for some reason. Then he looked up slowly, shaking slightly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Hey, it's okay. It happens. I'll get it. Mike laughed, then went over to a paper towel holder and grabbed a roll. He wiped the table, then put Rory's fork back into his bowl. He tossed the paper towel into the trash can, then sat back down. Rory was still nervous for some reason. He didn't know why. I didn't mean to make a mess on your table. Rory, I'm not mad. Why are you so scared? It's just my mom. She would, yell at me for crumbs and accidentally making any messes. Oh, I'm sorry if your mom treated you that way. Just so you know, it doesn't really bother me if you make a mess, but just clean it up, okay? Okay. Your mom, tell me more about her if you remember anything. She takes long showers. She keeps the house very clean. She focused more on our work than on me. That's all she really does, around me at least. She sounds sophisticated. Sophisticated? She sounds like a pretty complex person to be around, but I'm sure she has her reasons for doing what she does, just like my own mom. She's very mean about it then. I'm sure she misses you greatly, though. We'll go looking for your parents. Rory shook his head. You don't want to meet them? If not your mom, your dad at least? My dad was never around, really. He was always at work and never talked to me. He probably forgot I existed. Don't say that. Maybe Wade still cares about me. Who's that? My friend from when I was younger. My only friend, actually. We had this tree house where no girls were allowed. It was fun. I remember talking to him on the walkie-talkie now. He told me that he was glad he kept it. He has a girlfriend now. Rory? Yes? Where did you find this walkie-talkie? In the bunker. You probably weren't talking to him. What? Do you know about the Funtime animatronics? Rory thought long and hard. He had no memory of them, but then he remembered back to the bunker. There were posters and banners of Circus Baby's Pizza World that had animatronics of them. No, but I saw some animatronics lying in the bunker. Those were the Funtime animatronics. One of them is Funtime Freddy, and well, he mimics voices, so he might have been mimicking your friend. What? How does he do that? I don't know, my dad programmed it, but I'm not wiping out the possibility it could have actually been your friend. Rory nodded. He turned to look out the window where the actual sunlight was, but now was fading away into darkness. It was already nighttime again. It's getting dark. I guess I need to show you where you'll be sleeping. Rory continued eating his food, then Mike showed him how to dump his leftovers and clean his dishes. Mike then led Rory to a room far down the hall. Inside it, there was a blue nightstand off to the right side of the entryway, and a blue bed on the left. In one corner, there were plushies of a brown bear, a yellow chicken, a red fox, and a blue bunny. Rory looked at them and shivered. They were cute, but they reminded him of the nightmares. This was my younger brother's room. I'm right down the hall over to this door, so if you need anything, just come in and ask. Rory turned and nodded. Mike was pointing at the door on the far left. He then walked inside it for a few moments. He walked back out with a set of clothes and put them on the bed next to Rory. Do you want to take a shower? Rory nodded again. Then Mike led him down the hall into the bathroom. He took a quick shower to freshen himself up. Rory changed into the new clothes, then hopped into the bed. It was comfortable, and he sighed in relief when his back hit the mattress. Good night. Good night. Mike tucked him in, then headed towards the lamp. He turned it on, then closed the door on his way out. Rory could hear footsteps fading away into the distance before they came to a complete stop. He laid facing the ceiling, then slowly, his eyes closed, and he felt like he could get a restful sleep. That was until his eyes shot open, and he sat up. He was in the same bedroom again, and he started breathing quickly. The closet doors moved up ahead of him in the darkness. The doors on both sides opened simultaneously as both the yellow chicken and the blue bunny emerged outwards. Suddenly, Rory turned, and before he could make a run for it, the brown bear towered over him. Without even realizing, he was able to move this time. He turned to the other side of the bed and got up, but he was grabbed by something hiding in the corner. Out came a big yellow bear that had a purple bow tie and a top hat. He picked Rory up and screamed in his face before chomping his head. Rory sat up in his bed. He was sweating. He didn't want to be alone in this room anymore. He jumped out of the bed, pushed himself through the door, and ran into Mike's bed. He jumped and laid down next to him without thinking. Mike woke up in a confused daze. What's going on, Rory? I'm sorry, Slow down. What happened? I had a nightmare. It's okay. It's okay. Can I stay in here with you? Mike paused for a moment, then nodded. He pulled the blankets out from under Rory, then covered him. He held Rory closely to him so he wouldn't feel all by himself. Rory was comfortable and managed to fall back asleep in no time. Mike stayed awake, though. He felt a tear slip from his eye. He wished he had treated his brother with comfort instead of scaring him and causing his death.